yet another episode of the Speakeasy podcast where we talk about the behind the scenes of what it is to be the speaker or the author. Now let's be real. Let's talk about this. In the beginning, I'm not talking about the Bible. In the beginning, as a speaker, what's the issues that's really going on? For one, we look at everybody else and we're trying to be and fit everybody else's persona. We're trying to have that certain look, but we don't really have no content. What's some of the other things, guys? Put them in the comments. What are some of the other things that you have seen going on with people, when they start off as the speaker, as the motivational speaker? Because we're going to tap into some of those topics today. But also, I found that along the way, you meet some phenomenal people. Now, let me tell you, phenomenal people, they stand out. And so the one that I have on for today, his logo's a peacock. My logo's a unicorn. So you knew that we were going to connect in some way, shape, or form, right? At some point, the universe was just going to say, and bring us together. But I have had the opportunity of being in his Facebook group where he shares out great tips and information, but also to see his growth. I've seen him go on live shows, meaning the news. I've seen him do live events. I've seen him do numerous things. I know he's preparing for a live event as we speak, and some things that are coming on that I'm sure he's going to tell you guys about. But what he does is he helps you to tap into that genius. Now listen, I know everybody thinks they're a genius. We all think we're a genius until someone shows us that we're not. So this is the conversation we're going to have today. I know, I started off with a couple bricks. I apologize. It was an ouch. I love you though. It's all coming from love. But the reality is that we all believe we're a genius until somebody tells us otherwise. So let's talk about it. What's that fog that we're kind of in when it comes to speaking? So before we get started, let me introduce you to who I'm talking about. So my guest for today is Asa Leveaux. I love saying his name. That's a little stalkerish. Don't judge me. I don't care. Asa Leveaux is my guest for today. So Asa, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yes, you're right. Yes, my logo does have a peacock. Hers has a unicorn. Yes, we are mystical Black creatures in this space of speaker and entrepreneurial and just everything badass about us. Melanin popping, just saying. So if you don't know much about me or nothing about me at all, first off, my name is Asa Leveaux. So you may have seen like my name across the screen. It's not Asa. It's not Asa, I promise. It's not Asia. It's not Asa. You don't have to create all of those languages. It's really simple. Asa Leveaux. That's all that is. All that it needs to be. Don't be extra. Just pay Asa. So Asa Leveaux, that's my name. And what I do for a living, what I do is I optimize entrepreneurial brands so that I can increase their revenue by 100%. That's what I do. And we'll talk about more about the thing I just told you in a little bit.
So did y'all hear that word that he said, increase? Isn't that a nice word? It's so pretty. I love it. Increase is something that we all want, but some of you are doing it wrong. But I love y'all. And this is why the Speakeasy podcast is here. And I am your host, Out to V Spelzer, the voice coach, not a voice coach, but the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, Amazon bestselling author. But guess what, guys? Listen, in the beginning, I told y'all not the Bible. In the beginning, man, oh man, talk about a fog. And so when we think about this fog as a speaker, a lot of it is analysis paralysis. A lot of it is, I want to go and they famous. I'm going to go take some of what they got. I'm going to be just like them. Oh, they famous. Oh, let me do what they said they made $1 million. Let me go on the scoop. Hey. You're all over the place. So with that being in mind, so what would be the first thing that you would say to someone who's saying, I want to do this professionally?
First off, I would consult your mind again. uh, to to be a speaker is not as glamorous as it may seem. That's number one. So I would actually ask you to rethink that thought. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying it's not for you. I'm not saying the divine doesn't want you to have the abundance in which you are destined to bring. I am asking you to reconsider. That's what I'm asking you to do. So that's number one. Just reconsider, and because you might need to just be a preacher, or you might need to go be a teacher at an elementary school, or you might need to, be a mascot. Something other than being a professional speaker, because, like I said, it's just not as exquisite at all times. And if you're not really, really understanding of why you're in this space, you're going to be bombarded, and you're going to be bombarded with that dichotomy of the thing that you see in others not looking like the thing you're representing in real life. And please understand that we're all highlighting our sizzle reels in real life. I made that post on Facebook yesterday. My social media is a highlight reel. Is it authentic? Yes, but it is the highlights. There are lots of things about what I do and who I be that just don't feel good. They don't taste good. They don't look good, and I don't bring those up. But I totally understand how somebody could look at the life that I present like, oh, man, Asa got it all together, and that's a lie, and the truth ain't in it. So I'm telling you already, that's not what this is. So that's the first thing. Just reconsider. Just reconsider another possibility. Did you ask me to go on to the second one? Because I'm ready for my second one.
Of course. I'm ready for the second
Okay. Okay, cool. So the second one, after you reconsidered that you really don't want to even do this. Oh, I forgot to ask you. So this is another thing. You should know your audience, and I didn't do this totally well with Altavi, so I'm gonna ask Altavi the question. So I cuss, right? So should I be cussing right now? Because I cuss, and I cuss
Okay, so
often.
I know you, and okay, just go.
Okay, got it. Okay, so so after you reconsidered that shit, you need to really, really understand that after you reconsidered, that you understand what or how worthy you are. That's number two. It has absolutely nothing to do with skill. It has absolutely nothing to do with what you're going to get paid. But then again, it does. Because if you're not understanding how worthy you are, as you come to me and then I coach you into a new possibility, and then you say to me, Asa, the $3,500 for me to go speak is preposterous. Or Asa, me getting $10,000 for a speaking gig is out of this world, and I don't feel comfortable asking for that. You know why you don't feel comfortable? Because you do not feel comfortable with the level of excellence that I see in you, but you don't see in yourself. So unless you can reconcile how we see you and how you see yourself, you are never going to be able to break out as a miraculous and marvelous and exquisite speaker in the realm in which you want to do it in. And the realm, different realms, this is the next thing. What realm do you operate in? Are you a professional speaker? Are you a motivational speaker? Are you an instructional speaker? Are you an educational speaker? Are you a transformational speaker? All of these are different things. Which are you? Because if you're doing transformational work, but you keep asking for keynote experiences, you're going to eventually get some blockage eventually, because those two are not one and the
Wait a
same.
minute.
I don't need. Go
Flag on
ahead.
the play. Repeat that. Repeat it. Repeat it. Oh my
I
goodness.
will say that again. All right. So if you don't understand the type of speaker that you are, but you keep booking yourself for things that are outside of your wheelhouse, you're going to get a block. That block is going to come mentally. That block is going to come emotionally. That block is going to come financially because everybody's testimonials about you and experiences of you is transformational. But they didn't ask you to do a workshop. They didn't ask nobody to cry. They asked you to talk to accountants about the bottom line and stand behind the podium. But now you want to resurrect the dead and bring Jesus and bring the light and the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and that wasn't your place because that's not what you do. So please understand and become very, very um, very knowledgeable and very intimate with what it is you do and do well. Now, some of us are able to be just professional speakers. A professional speaker is someone who can do every single thing however you want it, which means, so I'm a professional speaker. So I will literally walk into an organization and say, all right, tell me about your audience. So they tell me about their audience. Then I say, what do you want them to get as a result of experiencing me? Do you want them to cry? Do you want them to come motivated? Do you want them to sell all this shit that y'all got on the table? What you want me to do? Like, seriously, what do you want me to do for your people? And what does the end result look like? Do I need everybody cheering? Do I need them weeping in the floor? Do I need them paying tithes? Like, what do you want me to do? You tell me what you want me to do, and then I do that for you. So understanding the difference. So far, we've not even 30 minutes into this conversation. I've already told you, number one, reconsider that shit. Reconsider that you even want to be a part of this life, because as my mama would say, who is a preacher, there are different devils for different levels. And so you may be on Facebook Live speaking, but you ain't got to a conference yet, and you have no idea what that green room is. You have no idea what the green room is like on TV. You have no idea the type of pissosity that you will reside in for not being ready for where you want to become. You have no idea. So just get clear. Just get real clear about what you want to do, because it's just not about headshots and speaker one sheets, homie. It's not.
Oh, but those are so cute, ain't they? You see how people be
They
getting
are
they want
all
sheets
on
in the bar.
Fiverr with your sheet.
You
Oh,
did
she
that.
got, I like it too. I like it. But I won't tell nobody about you because you're not ready.
And then it's so funny because there's listen, it's interesting because you always look at the speaker reel. I mean, you look at the speaker reel, you look at the highlight reel, and then you get excited, right? Because that person just talked about how they went and they spoke and they made $10,000, and you're like, well, I talk all day long. I can talk from sun up to sundown. What you need me to talk about? But the thing is, they're not just talking, and there we have the problem. Because
Yes,
some of
you're
y'all
not
getting up here
talking.
and you're not even an expert in the industry you talking, or can we?
You're not even an expert in your own life. Let's just talk about that. You're not even an expert in your own life. And so I'm going to need for people to stop talking about they want to be a speaker just because your cousin Pookie and them keep asking you for advice. And because they ask you for advice, you think you're ready to be a coach slash speaker slash author slash everything. You don't need to do no goddamn slashes. Go get some education about what it is you want to be dope in, and then do that. So what qualifies me as as a speaker? And let's just go do it now. Let's qualify that. Because my thing is, you can say that God qualified me and I don't need man's qualification. Well, guess what? God ain't the one signing your check. Man is. So I'm going to need you to have some real qualifications. So if somebody walks up to me and says, hey, I have a speaking gig for $5,000. I heard your name about something. What would make you, beneficial for my team? Number one, I'm not going to talk about myself. And that's something else that a lot of people that I'm seeing in the speaker space, when they're talking about gigs, all of a sudden they just start running at the mouth about what they do and how they do it. You don't even know if the person listening is even in alignment with what you're about to say. That's the issue. So if somebody steps to me and says, I have $5,000, I want you to be a part, what could you do for me? My thing is, what do you want me to do for you? What is valuable to you? What are you looking for? What type of crowd is it? What was your last experience with the speaker like? Who was the best speaker you've ever experienced virtually or in person? What made it that way? Because my thing, if you're saying that the thing that made this speaker amazing, the thing that would make you go from $5,000 to $50,000 paying them was the fact that they put Jesus in the sermon and the fact that they told everybody who was gay that they're going to go into hell. I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm a queer black man who's not in alignment with any main religious tradition, I'm not for you. We don't need to waste all this time. We don't need to put our emails back and forth. We don't need to keep doing Calendly links and Acuity links, getting on each other's calendars. And I don't need to keep posting how I'm making big moves because I had a pseudo meeting over a phone call. None of that needs to take place because I understand exactly what they need because of the questions that I asked them.
So let's be honest. People are scared to ask questions. People are scared to do research. I've never understood why people are scared to just Google it. Uncle Google will tell you anything.
Uncle Google will tell you anything. You are so right. Yes.
Uncle Google will tell you anything. So I don't understand why people are so scared about doing the research. I make fun of it, but this is real. But it's my running joke is that you get excited about, being asked to speak at a horse breeders convention, and you don't know nothing about horses, but you're getting excited about the opportunity.
But at the same point, if you were to ask questions, you may know that at the horse breeders convention, they are looking to add more members. And because you build community, that's your sweet spot, and that's why you're coming into that organization to speak. But if you're over here to talk about how horse breeding is going to revolutionize the this portion of America for the next decade. No, that ain't you, boo-boo. That's not you. Don't do that no more. Because you don't do that. You're not a research analyst. You don't even research. And especially if you don't understand what things like scholarly journals are, and if all your research is, adequate to Google, then no, you don't do that for a living. So yeah, just know what you do and be comfortable with what you do. And somebody will pay you for what you do and how you do what you do.
Exactly.
Because the thing about it, somebody once told, and because I come from a very Pentecostal tradition, and nothing bad about Pentecostal tradition, it has allowed me to do things that a lot of people can't do just because of the upbringing, growing up in Sunshine Band and being on the usher board and all that and the other. But at the same time, I'm able to do things that other people aren't. And I said all of that to say, if somebody asked me to speak at church, it would be different than if somebody was to ask me to speak at a conference. I would wear possibly different things. I would speak about different things. I would hold myself in a way totally different. In a church setting, you want to be very, you want to be relatable, and you want to get down eye to eye, soul to soul, heart to heart with people. In a conference, there's almost this expectation that you need to be other than. You need to be removed. You need to be in your own VIP section. You need to be able to only take pictures. Even I don't care how long the line is. You just take pictures. You don't need to be eating lunch with them. It's a different thing. But if you don't study, you'll never know that. You'll never know.
And that is so true. I've found that, and the level like I said, going back to the research, who's going to be in the audience? I learned that lesson early on, because you'll go into the audience, and the audience is grandma and auntie and them, and they wasn't your target. So everything you saying is going over their head and out the window. So we end up wasting time, energy, and money in the beginning, simply because we got all these things that's fogging up our head. We got all these things that's fogging up our idea of what success is as a speaker. And this is the other thing. You ready? This that ouch piece. This is one of the reasons why I love your group and I love following you and what you've been doing, is because the other piece is you won't get help.
Yeah.
That part. And so this is the thing. They won't get help in the beginning. And then when everything is like crumbling around them, they want to run to us and say, help. Running like they tail on fire. So when we get to that moment, now it's like, okay, you're thinking that I'm going to be able to snap and make it all better, but that's not it. Now we got to go through this whole process the process that you should have went through in the beginning. And so have you ever found yourself where somebody has come to you and that's been their thought? Like, I want immediate results. I want to be this professional. I want to be Les Brown tomorrow. I want to be Lisa Nichols in 12 hours. Make it happen, Asa. Make it happen. And your response is what?
My response is, if you come to me and say you want to be Lisa Nichols in 12 hours, you want to be Les Brown in 24 hours, if you want to be who's another badass speaker? Of course, there's now I can't think of anybody's name, but that's okay. That's okay. But you want to be anybody that is on a level that you wish you desire to be. I'm going to tell you, number one, if that's your desire, you don't need me. You need a plastic surgeon. You don't need Asa, because Asa can't make you into somebody else. Asa can only bring out the innate genius that is within you. That's what Asa does. That's what makes Asa dope. So if you want to be Lisa Nichols, sorry, you might want to go to Beverly Hills, call on the doctors, ask for a referral, and get that nose job fixed, because I can help you with that. So that's number one. Understand that the power that you have is for you. That's what that is. Second thing, I'm going to get to the root of your systemic issue. Your systemic issue. So I totally understand that you want things to be better, but so I'm going to relate a systemic issue in speaking with systemic issues in racism. So I saw a meme recently, and it said, you know what, things that won't protect my black ass from systemic racism are the following: my silence, my college degree, what I wear, how I wear my pants, how I wear my hair, my age, cameras, the amount of white friends that I have, what versions of English that I have, having a job, what music I listen to, being unarmed, my parents' marital status. It's like, it doesn't matter what I do. If there's systemic racism, there's systemic racism. So if you systemically suck as a speaker, you systemically suck as a speaker. So if you really do suck as a speaker, I'm going to ask you to consider doing speaker training. Speaker training can look like so many different things. You can watch and imitate different people, and that's great. You can go to people's seminars, people's workshops. That's great too. Or you can do VIP days where you actually work with someone who is a speaker, and we get to tell you certain things. So for instance, there's something called anchoring. Anchoring is when you are occupying a room and you literally tell people what to do with your body language. So you're in the middle of the room, and instead of saying, yeah, you can go to the back of the room to get your enrollment form, you would literally say, you can go to the rear of the room, like you're telling them where to go. You're the anchor, but you need to show them with your body where to go. That's anchoring. Or there's a skill in which you walk the stage. And so you have 3 sections of the stage. You have the left, the middle, and the right. You never go to one end of a stage without first completing a moment in time on the next one that comes. So you never go from left to right without stopping and standing in the middle. If you want to get to the right from the left, you will stop in the left and address. You will then move to the middle, stop and address. Then you will go and stop and address. You're just not swinging haphazardly at will from one stage to the other. That's not what you will do. That's not what I will allow you to do. So there are different things like that that will add some acumen to your abilities.
Then we go into, that's that toolbox that we as speakers have. So we have this toolbox. Now listen, Linda. I am not Miss Fix-It. Listen, don't ask me to put nothing together, because it's definitely going to fall apart. But I know what a toolbox is, and I know what it's used for, to hold the tools in order to do stuff like putting stuff together, right? Well, when we are a speaker, we have to have this toolbox. And I always laugh because people are so scared to put things in the toolbox. Like, they're scared that people are going to look at them funny because they've put these things in their toolbox. People are not going to laugh at you for having a screwdriver. You're supposed to have a screwdriver. That's like if you have a car You're supposed to have jumper cables. Like there's things you're supposed to have. And I always, get people that look at me strange when I say, oh, well, that's a part of my speaker toolbox. And they're like, well, why would you have that? Because I might need it. So thinking in your arsenal, Asa, what would be something that is, when you look at your own speaker toolbox, what's something in your toolbox that you're like, oh, I can't go nowhere without this?
I can't go anywhere to go speak in my speaker one box without my story catalog. What is a story catalog? A story catalog is the ability that Asa has to connect with the people that are listening in the audience. So when I speak, I do it by story, content, story, content, story, content, story, content. You will understand why I just told you that it's best to go down 7th Street, because I have a story. You will then understand why it's best to be an entrepreneurial in this age than the other age. Why? Because I have a story. Because people need to write down, and then they need to feel you. And then they need to write down, and then they need to feel you. And then guess what? You need to write down, and they need to feel you. So something that I just did right there, that's a skill. That's something else that I would never put it in my speaker one box. The ability to utilize a pregnant pause. I just did it again. I literally just did it again. So you don't have to just be like, you don't have to do all of this when you're giving out content. You can literally let them absorb it and then take them through a journey, and it makes the energy different. That speaking, the joy of speaking, the art of speaking is so much. And I will say that through years of me speaking, I have seen a lot of things that's duplicated but renamed. And that's something else you'll find out when you start doing a lot of speaker training, where somebody says a dip, somebody else will say a story, and then somebody else will say a life-shattering experience. I'm like, y'all all saying the same thing. All you're saying is to connect through an experience that you have, and then you rebranded it based on the brand of your company, and then you issued it out in an infographic or a white paper. That's exactly what took place. I am very much aware of when people are using other people's languages. Yeah, I totally get it. I understand. So something else within my speaker arsenal, my speaker toolkit, is something that I would never, it's as equally as important as my story catalog, and it is my ability to sell. My speaker catalog is on the same playing field as my ability to sell. Why? How can I keep speaking if I don't keep selling? Like, no one's going to know about you or the possibility of you because you don't make any sales calls. People, yes, you made the YouTube video. Yes, you made a sizzle reel. Yes, you were on that conference slide that looked really, really pretty, and your light was just glowing, and your melanin was popping. You better get it, girl. And you know what? Nobody cares because nobody saw that shit. The people who saw that shit were actually at the conference. Nobody else saw that shit. So everybody in North Carolina saw it. Everybody in Oklahoma City saw it. Everybody in Denver saw it. But guess what? Everybody who still needs your ass in France, they didn't see it. Everybody who still needs your ass in Germany, they didn't see it. So what I'm going to need you to do is stop thinking that the thing that you did yesterday is good enough for the place you want to go tomorrow. I'm going to ask you not to do that no more.
You got to repeat it. You got to repeat it.
Okay. Altavis wants me to repeat that. I'm asking you to understand that the thing that you did on yesterday is not the thing that's good enough to get you to tomorrow. So what are you doing in the right now moment to get you where you need to go? I understand how we need to talk about, what you've done in your past. I understand that. But they weren't there for that. We need to get to tomorrow. It's great that you spoke in all these places and you did all these things. Now, what are you going to do with that information? If you're not going to call anybody and offer your services up, you'll never get booked. I mean, you might get booked, but not at the capacity that you want to. If you're talking about, I want to be a speaker, I want to be traveling, I want to be on planes, I need to be at least 5 speaking gigs a month. Okay, you don't network with anybody. And oh, by the way, networking is not being in Ace's inbox talking about, can you give me ways to be a speaker? I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it. Don't do it. Stop doing it. Because that's not networking. Networking is showing value so that the other person can then show value as well. It is an exchange of energy called value. So please stop going in people that you feel are speakers into their inboxes talking about how can I be a speaker? Because you know we all got courses for that shit. Just stop doing that. Cause you can't pick our brains over sandwiches. Can't do it. My brain is more than a burger. And I don't eat meat these days anyway. I'm trying to be vegan. You know, I'm trying to be good when I turn 50. You got these black popping and things. My black don't crack. I gotta keep it not cracking.
Oh my goodness, that is just it. I think about it all the time because I'm like, okay, you get people in your inbox, you get people who get on the phone with you, and that's immediately what they want to say. They said, I want to speak, I want to do this, I want to travel, I want to go, I want to be overseas. Okay, all right. So how you getting there? What you gonna do when you get over there? What's the culture? What's that like? Because see, it's cute to want to speak overseas, but if you get over there and get shot, that's not cute anymore. That's called pain, stitches. That's not good. And there's certain things that you have to think about. So I know for me, I said that on my list of things to do is I want to speak in Dubai. Well, guess what? I have to know the culture of Dubai. Because if I go up there talk about I'm trying to help y'all out, and I want y'all to understand the stuff that I'm trying to listen. I apologize for all of those who are listening to this on iTunes and Spreaker because that was just loud. I'm so sorry, but it's the reality of it. I can't go over there, Rashida, thinking that that's going to work for that environment. It's not. I have to know the environment that I'm going to be in. But I also have to have those tools that's in my toolbox because I have to know what I'm doing. Like something that I've learned through networking is that, of course, some women garb up when they go over to speak in Dubai. I have to know that. And they told us, certain things to do, like when you go over, especially when you're speaking in a room of women, to have them garb you while you're there. It's I forgot the word that they used for it, but it's a great way for you to connect with them. And I was like, oh, I never would have thought of that. Because listen, we let's be honest, we out here trying to go everywhere with some jeans and t-shirt on. Because we see Zuckerberg walking around with jeans and t-shirt on. So we think we go everywhere with jeans and t-shirt. It ain't going to work. At least not to the level that you're trying to make it to. It's not going to work.
Exactly.
And so with all of that being said, now let's talk about the ultimate, like, I was about to say the ultimate big head. That didn't work. Okay. Let me rewind that. The ultimate genius level. There we go. Because immediately, like, I don't know where my head went, but the ultimate genius level, what is that going to look like? So when I step in front of Asa Leveaux, I told you I like saying his name. When I step in front of Asa Leveaux and I say, okay, I'm trying to get to this high level. I want to get to the top. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to step it up however I need to step it up. What does that look like for me?
It looks like based on what success looks like for you. So, for instance, sometimes speakers speak just to prove a point to an auntie that is now dead. And all you want to do is prove to your Aunt May that you could speak. And so you book your speaking engagement and you're done. You are complete. You proved the point. You can speak. Sometimes people speak because they want to make sure that little children around the world understand that they could be wonderful and beautifully made. Sometimes people speak because they want to make six figures and leave their job and tour the country only speaking. So my thing is, I am not able to solidify my plan of resurrecting your innate genius until I understand what your level of success looks like for you. Because you are not a cookie cutter carbon copy of anybody else that I've worked with before, nor do I want to diminish you to that level. So that's what that looks like. Me understanding what is it that you want and why do you want it. Now that I understand what you want, now let's get after it. Because if you're here if you want to be a heart-centered preneur and you want to make people feel good and you're not really about the money, based on me understanding that, I'm going to go tell you to work for somebody else because I'm about that dollar. If you want to be in ministry, then go be in ministry and sit under the tutelage of TD Jakes or Creflo Dollar or Paula White or any of these people that can show you about ministry. But that's ministry. Ministry is different from creating a movement with money. I need money movement, not ministry, right in this coaching co-creating possibility. So I'm very clear that if you are very, very heart-centered and you don't think money needs to be a big thing, and that you just care about people and whatever you charge, whatever you can get, if it's a chicken dinner, it's a chicken dinner. And if you can just pay my travel. No, my fee is this. And in lieu of a fee, I'm able to do this, this, and this. So whatever that is for you, you let me know, and then I can say if I'm for you or not for you.
I immediately went into laughter when you talked about the chicken dinner because we all have had at least one experience.
You got to have the one. You got to have the one experience.
You got to have the one where they give you the chicken dinner and the soda.
With the Shasta.
I think that's like a rite of passage.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage to get a chicken dinner with a Shasta or RC Cola. Yeah, it's a rite of passage. You got to get that. You got to get the chicken dinner where the grease go through that little Family Dollar plate. Not the Chinette plate. The Family Dollar flimsy thing that crease in the way that, like, how did that crease even happen? In the oil just seep on your clothes, and then you can't go to the airport because you smell like Mama Jean's house. Just that, no, I have stories.
I had someone on one of my episodes that was just like, yeah, so they spoke, and then afterwards they got a smoothie from 7-Eleven and a bag of pretzels.
Oh.
I said, you didn't even get the chicken dinner. Like,
dang, they didn't even get the chicken dinner? Not even the McChicken. Dang.
it's like,
homie.
like you need a hug. I feel so bad.
So bad.
I said, that is dangerous right there. But with that being said, I'm so thankful that you decided to join me today. I appreciate it. I applaud everything that you're doing and the work that you're doing with those who are entrepreneurs and speakers. I'm always sharing out your information into my private Facebook groups and connecting with people and saying, hey, you need to listen. This is the thing, guys, if I share somebody out, it's because I believe in that person. I'm not sharing out people just for likes and giggles. That's not, I mean, I like saying his name and everything, but I love saying his name and everything, but it's not for likes and giggles. It's because people out here really do have great information that can take you and your business to a whole new level. And if you've been following the podcast for any length of time, you know that as a speaker, as an author, you are an entrepreneur. And if you forget that part, let me rewind and say it again. As a speaker, as an author, you are also an entrepreneur. And that means that you need to look at your business as you are the brand, you are the business, and you need to get to business. So sometimes that means investing in somebody that can help you move to that next level. So with that being said, Asa Leveaux, tell them where they can find you and how they can get your book as well.
Sure. So if you would want a conversation, that's just some of y'all are just like, Asa, we need to talk. I'm like, okay, let's talk. So you can dial 405-446-8265. I say again, 405-446-8265, and we can go from there. Totally go from there. If you want to email me and learn more about Genius Academy, which is our training and development division. And so that's where I would do all of this out of, is through Genius Academy. You can send an email to genius@geniusacademy.co. And genius is spelled Genius. I understand that sometimes geniuses don't know how to spell what they are. That's how I'm going to say that right now. And so you spell genius, Genius, not Genious. No, that is not the proper way. And my emails will not come through. And then you'll be operating in a high level of pissosity because you think Ace is being bougie and did not respond. But no, it's genius@geniusacademy.co, I promise. And so we can work out that way. And you can find Asa Leveaux on pretty much every single social media platform that's out there. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even my Pinterest page. My Pinterest pages are lit. Just trying to let you know. Like your whole life in my Pinterest page, trying to tell you.
I'll be going in on Pinterest. I'll be going in on Pinterest. People don't know. They don't understand the game. They not into it, Asa. They not into it. They be like, oh, Pinterest is just for them DIY people. No.
No, create some memes and put that stuff out there with your website attached to it.
See, now you're giving them sauce. Come on now. Don't be giving all the extra stuff. You go wait to the end and start giving out extra sauce.
I'm just saying, I can help you with that. That's not a problem.
Extra sauces out.
My pleasure.
So guys, I greatly appreciate you. And if you are a speaker or an author and you would love to be a guest on the Speakeasy podcast, go to bit.ly/Speakeasy podcast, all lowercase, and you can be a guest. You can definitely choose. I think right now we're up to like April with scheduling. So definitely want to get in as soon as possible so that way you can get on the platform and we can talk about the topic that surrounds your business, your brand, and your book. With that being said, I'm your host, Altavice Pelzer, the voice coach, not a voice coach, but the voice coach. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.